Well, when you get this kind of a question, don't know, have I lost the question again? When you get this kind of a question, it's good to understand what the question is asking for. And I said in the trust and executorship accounting, dates are very paramount because dates are the ones that help you make a decision. For instance, in this case, we've been told that Kombo died on 31st October 2000. It's very important to mark that date. Then you've been given the list of his assets and liabilities. And then more importantly, there is the additional information that is available. So the first thing is to adjust, or rather look at what the additional information is talking about. If they are adjusting the assets or the liabilities, so be it. If they are communicating something else, then you'll be wiser. So we've been told a legacy of 40,000 was bequeathed to his executor and was paid on 28th January. Then the residue of estate was left in trust for his infant son. The household furniture was sold on 15th December 2000. Kombo died on 31st October. So you can see we are selling the furniture at 192. The value of the furniture in the books is 180. So you have a gain there. Then the shares were sold on the same date at 29th ex-div, and a dividend being received on 25th January at 10% for the year ending 31st December. You can see the value of the shares. The shares are, the par value is 20 shillings, but the prevailing market value is 30 shillings per share. So selling them at 29 ex-div means that we are incurring a loss of 1 shilling per share. Then fifth, interest on investment in freehold property was received on 31st December 2000, on which date the shares in the business of Kombo and Company was received. You have an interest of 5% per annum. That one will adjust. Then the liabilities and funeral expenses were discharged on 20th December. He died on 31st October, on which date 20,000 of the debts due were received. So the sundry debtors is 40. When we are paying the funeral expenses, which are liability, funeral expenses are 20,000. We are receiving, or the debts are being honored, 20,000. So again, we need to adjust that. So we've been required to do the journal entries, then the estate cash book, estate income account, estate capital account, and the balance sheet of the deceased as at 31st January 2001. And that question is carrying 20 marks. Of course, such kind of questions will always carry 20 marks. It's comprehensive. So the first thing is to try and do the apportionment. We've been told that there are dividends, number 4, of 10% of the shares. So allow me to go to the Excel. So you need to adjust. So what is the par value of those shares? What's the par value of the shares? And that's to go together. There are 20,000 ordinary shares of 20 shillings each. They'll work here. So you start with working one. So we are talking of we've been told that there are 20,000 ordinary shares of 20 shillings each in KFC Limited, valued at 30 shillings per share. So adjusting number 4, we've been told that the shares were sold on the same date at 29 ex-div, and a dividend is received on 25th January at 10%. So our dividend from the KFC, we know dividends are from the par value. So our par value, the shares are 20,000 multiplied by 20. So we are getting 10% multiplied by the value of the shares. They are 20,000 shares multiplied by the par value of, what do we get? I'll be using this to put the amount. What do you get? I'm presuming you people have your calculators with you so that we save on time. What is 10% of 40,000? Is it 40,000 or 400,000? It will be 40,000, right?
40,000.
That is working one. Then the second thing that we need to check, we've been told on number 5, interest on investment in freehold property was received on 31st December, on which value the shares in the business of Kombo and Company was received with interest at 5% per annum. 5% per annum. So we are looking at the interest from the freehold property. Now look at the duration. The death is occurring on October, but we are receiving the investment, the interest on the investment on that 1st December at 5% per annum. You can see the investment were paid there on 30th June. So duration is very important. It's like we are looking for the interest between this period to 31st of December 2000, isn't it? So it's 5%. So we are talking of the 5% multiplied by this 800, right? The freehold property, it's 800. And between 1st July and 31st December, these are 6 months. It's like half an year. So 6 divided by 12. What do you get? 0.05 multiplied by 800. That's supposed to give you 40,000. 40,000 divided by a half, 20,000. Confirm this figure. I'm working offhead. Is it 20,000?
Yes.
Should have indicated here. So this is our working number 2. So we go to working number 3. Supposed to have some logical sequencing so that you don't err. So we've been told, but we know that this amount, before I proceed, I've remembered something. When we'll be posting this amount, because we've been asked to give the estate capital and the estate income, we did now to apportion accordingly. We know that the death is occurring on 30th October, isn't it? And remember, you said that any interest that will occur on death, all the assets, including any income accrued up to the date of death, we say that they'll be treated as capital. But income that will be arising after death will be treated as income. So it's good to differentiate the pre-death, because that will go to the estate capital, and the post-death, because that will be treated as income. So our pre-death will be spanning from 1st July all the way to 30th October. This one Kombo is dying. So how many months? July, August, September, October. Those are 4 months, isn't it? Right? They are 4 months. So you'll be taking 4 out of the 6 months. Four out of the 6 months, you multiply by the 20,000. What do you get? And then the post-death will be 2 months. So post-death will be starting from 1st September all the way to 31st December. Not September, 1st November. What do you get for 4 months? What do you get for 4 months? 2,000 of 20,000. 2,000 of 20,000 should be
13,333.
So this is the remainder, 666. Let us round off to achieve the 20,000, right? 6667, right? Get 20,000. So it's good to apportion. Let us go to the next item. The next item is being told the liability and funeral. The liability and funeral are discharged on 20th. There's something that we, number 4, number 5, interest on investment on we accounted for the interest on the shares of Kombo and Company. Into the shares were sold on the same date at 10% share in business value at this. Is that interest on the, I'm not seeing any, we'll just adjust. The number 6, we just know that our funeral expenses are 20,000, but we are being told that on the same day that they were due, we received the debts were honored of 20,000. So I'm looking at the other adjustment. We have the investment at 5%. And then we have the shares in business of Kombo. And they are valued at 24.52. Look at the shares in the business of Kombo. They are 24.52. And out of that 5% on freehold property securities, the interest is being paid. Correct? So can we get the interest from shares of Kombo and Company? Being told that the shares are being received with an interest of 5%, isn't it? So what is 24.52? The problem is I'm all alone in this question. So I'm thinking and at the same time working. So we are talking of the 105% of these shares, because they are being received at 5%, is being equated to 24.52,800, right? So can we get the value of the 100%? What will be 100%? And cross multiply. So 100% will be 100 over 105 multiplied by 24.52. What do you get? That will be the value. We want to know the principal. And then from the principal, we'll be knowing the interest that will be going to the estate capital, and then the interest that will be going to the income. Again, we are going to apportion because we have the date of death. How do you get? $100 over 105 multiplied by 24.52,000. What are you getting?
2336.
23?
2,336,000.
2,336,000. So this is the equivalent of 100%, isn't it? So if we were to apportion, because our 24.52, the 2,452,000 has the 5% that was received. So to get the absolute or the 100%, then we go to do the proportionate of the principal. So if our 105 is equivalent to 2,452,800, then our 24.52,800, right?
24.52.00.
Is it 00?
Hey.
Who is laughing? This is not a holiday camp. This is a class. If I know you, I'll just lock you out. We are busy thinking. I'm trying to work backward. It's like this question has some issues. So this is supposed to be 800. I remember being corrected. So I can correct the question. You can correct the question on your end. For those people who are laughing. I've corrected that. I remember we did some, the question was not balancing, so we had to do some corrections. So you can go on. I think we are now okay. You can refresh your question. I had to go back to, it's now reading 2452,800, isn't it?
Yes.
I think we are now better. So this should be 2482,800. Am I sharing the screen? You can see my Excel, right?
Yes.
So we can go on. So now this is the 100%. These are 100%. To mean we have now to apportion accordingly. We know that the death of Mr. Kombo occurred on 30th October, right? So we are going to have the interest for the first 10 months, starting from 1st January, this from 1st January 2000, all the way to 30th October 2000. So these are 10 months, isn't it? So we are going to apportion this amount. 10 months will go to the estate capital because that will be pre-death interest. And then you are going to apportion the 2 months to the income capital. That will be post-death. So can you get the interest for the first 10 months? What you are going to take to the estate capital? What do you get? We are getting 10 over 12. 10 months out of the whole year. Multiply by our 2336. What do we get? And then what we are taking to the income, just call it estate income. Estate income will now take the remaining 2 months. What do you get for the first one? What are you getting for the first one? Can you try and save time?
1,946,666.
1,000,000?
946,000. 666.66.
666.
Yes.
But what we need is the interest. So we multiply by 5%. We need the interest for the 10 months. What you are giving me is the entire amount, is the entire capital. So multiply by 0.05. What do we get? We have multiplied by 5%.
97,000.
97,000?
333.3.
97 333, right?
Yes.
Remainder?
Mm.
2 over 12 or 1 over 6 multiplied by
19,466.67.
19.
466.67.
667.
Yes.
We just rounded 19. 19,467. No, so 19,467, right? I've rounded off. In other words,
Yes.
if you are to get the 5% of 24,52,800, you're supposed to get 116,800. Because that is what we are portioning as the interest. Our interest is 5%. So we have apportioned accordingly. Now the question is asking, we have now done the additional information for purposes of, let me go back to the question. You've been asked to give the double entries. Give the journal entries, or rather the double entry, the account that ought to be debited and the account that ought to be credited. That one we can, let me share the question so that we go together. So the question is here. I want you to document your end from your end so that when we go to the double entry, you'll be giving me the account to debit and the account to credit. We start from the household furniture. That's an asset. So debit 180,000. You know how to journalize the account to debit and the account to credit. So household furniture, debit. I want people to have a 2-column data. Item, debit, credit. Then when we say this is to be debited, you post the amount in the debit column. This is to be credited, you post the amount in the credit column. Then we have the cash in house or the cash in hand, 4,000 is an asset, debit. Cash at bank is a current asset, you debit. We are debiting 500,000. We go on ordinary shares. These are shares. Is an investment. What do we do to investments? What do we do to investment? Investments. Investments are intangible assets. So we debit. We are debiting the 500 and the 600. We go on. The 800, forget about it because this was the interest there on and it was already paid on 30th June. Then we have the shares in the business of Kombo that is valued at death, 2452. So that is a debit, it's an investment. Then you have the sundry debtors, is a debit. Then you have the liability. Liabilities are credited, so credit 10,000. Then we have the funeral expenses. Funeral expenses, we are supposed now to, we know expenses in the trading profit and loss account are supposed to be debited, right? But in our estate capital account, we are supposed now to do the provision for funeral expenses. So it will be a credit. Are we there? What is the total debit? All these figures minus the 800. 180, 4, 5, 6, then 2452 plus 40. What do you get?
3,776,800. 776,800.
776,800.
Yes.
Then on the credit side, because you are getting 30,
30,000.
you're getting 30,000. I'll try to copy paste. Let me see. So I omit the amount that was already paid. So you can see the pain. The pain is immense. So let me share. So this is what you are getting, right? That is 776,800, right? Isn't it, Lucas?
Yes, yes.
So are we able now to get the estate capital? You remember the accounting equation? Assets is equals to capital plus liability. So you can get the capital. Our capital is supposed to be asset minus liability. And because we have gotten this figure, then we should be able to get the difference, right? So 37,76,800 minus 30,000 will give us the estate capital, which is
37,46,800.
37,46,800.